Okay, welcome to Inside Story. I'm your host, Kristen Messagey, Enneagram 6. This is season 2. First, I'm going to introduce my guest, and then we'll just talk about things. So, okay, I have Dani Cooper with me, Enneagram 1. Dani is an Enneagram teacher and coach, also an author. That's no small feat. And Dani works with couples, teams, individuals using the Enneagram to, help them do all the things. Dani, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so fun to be here.
I'm so excited you're here. So the thrust of season 2 is really the work. We do a lot of talking about the Enneagram and the theory of the Enneagram and what's it like to be your number and all these things. And what I really am hoping to pull out of courageous guests is what is the work for you as your type? How have you done that? What's hard about that? What continues to kind of get you tripped up and in your old patterns and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So I have some questions here. We'll just kind of talk through. Of course, it's not rigid in any way. We're going to just flow and see what happens. What do you say?
Okay, that sounds good to me. I'm excited
awesome.
to talk about it.
So first, I just want to hear a little about your Enneagram journey.
Okay.
How'd you find it? What was that like? Yeah.
Yeah. So I first encountered the Enneagram a long time ago, just in a book on a shelf at a retreat center. And I pulled it and then I put it back on the shelf because at that point in my life, my faith was such that it felt a little dangerous to me. And so I put it back on the shelf and didn't encounter it again until, ironically, at a staff meeting at a church I was working at. So I was a worship leader for a number of years, and we went through it as a staff. And that was the road back to you, where it grabbed me again. And this time it grabbed me and didn't let go. And I saw my type immediately. There was no question that I was an Enneagram 1.
Was there an element of permission the second time around?
100%. Yeah. I think it was like, oh, this is being, offered to me from this safe place. And that means it's right. And I don't think I felt that the first time around and didn't want to trust it without that authority. Yeah.
Totally. Okay. So, and how long ago was that? Like, how long have you been turning on this ridiculous tool?
I know, right?
We're all obsessed with.
Right? I think it was 2018 was when I just all the way. Yeah.
I feel like there was something in those years where it really was kind of like blowing up.
It was.
And very much showing up in churches. Which is a separate conversation.
Right. We got a permission slip to use this spiritual tool that maybe had sketchy roots, but it was now okay all of a sudden.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about, but that's a thing that happened. And I just think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just marking that as a thing that occurred.
Yeah. Okay, so I discovered that I was a 1. And then, of course, I wanted everyone in my life to know their Enneagram type. I should say that differently. I wanted to help them find their Enneagram type, most specifically my husband. And so drove him nuts with it. And
did you know right away what he was?
No. In fact, there are times when he and I are still like, are you sure? So he identifies as a 6. And I love him so much. We've been together for like 35 years. So it's a good thing we like each other. But like sometimes he would question, and he had a big, he kind of goes back and forth, but it feels most comfortable with 6. So, and I love that about him because I really feel like becoming the best at our type is not really the goal, right? It's kind of unburdening ourselves with some of those things our type gives to us. And so if you're a little amorphous on the Enneagram, I think that's actually a great thing.
Okay. I love that. I also love the word unburdening. So I'm writing that down. We're going to come back to that. Yeah. Well, actually, can you say more a little about that? Because when it comes to the work, I agree with you. It's not about, just say more.
Yeah. So I love that you're talking about the work. And I think burden comes to mind when you're thinking of doing work. And so I think sometimes that keeps us away from it because it's like, what? I mean, I got to work on something else. Like life has so much work already. And now you're wanting me to do inner work and figure myself out. And it does feel kind of like a burden. But the truth is, what's really burdening us is the constraints that our type gives us that we're unconsciously operating from. And so the work of unburdening ourselves from our type is actually what's giving us freedom and, getting out from under that and experiencing the fullness of who we actually are, as opposed to walking out old stories that we've walked through for far too long in some cases. So, and that's not to say that our type, so that's like the negative side. It's like, let's unburden ourselves from these things that are holding us back. But the work also has a really positive aspect to it, even though it can take some effort. And that's discovering like the best things about the superpowers that your type gives you because of the attention that you're naturally exhibiting toward the things that your type likes to look at, right? So those are places that we're really gifted. And so the work is determining all the ways that you're really gifted and how to apply those and all the ways that you're being held back from it. That whole thing together, I think, is the work. And so, yeah, does that make sense?
I just love how you said all that. Yeah, it totally makes sense. I noticed that I really shy away from the high end of type.
Wow.
And I don't know why. I do know why. Let me think. Can I answer my own question? I think it's because maybe particularly for sixes, they're like, what's good about me? Can this tool, this external authority tell me? And I'm such just like well, we don't really know you, or maybe you don't know you. The tool can't tell you. So I think I over-index on the like, it's an external authority. That's for you to live into. Anyway.
Well, I think it's a good point because every single type is going to see the work from a different perspective.
And every single individual, it's not like, because I think this is part of it, is sixes will think, if I get rid of all this, tell me who I'll be. And the truth is we don't know.
Oh, no, so, uncertainty.
Right.
I hate that.
hate, avoid at all costs. So it's just interesting that I notice myself being like, well, who knows what's great about you? But I actually like the superpowers. I actually really like that because there are pluses to where your attention goes automatically.
Yes, there
like
are.
You've built something real there. We maybe want it more from choice rather than a compulsion.
Totally.
But there's something there that's valuable.
Yeah. And for those types that have trouble finding themselves anyway, like maybe a six would, owning your superpower and leaning into it and making it be a choice and not something subconscious that's just a going through the motions thing, that can be so empowering. So
absolutely,
we all have superpowers.
Okay. So I'm already better from our conversation because I'm like, you know what? I'm taking the superpowers thing.
Yeah.
I'm injecting that into my work. Okay. So type 1, do you like reformer, perfectionist? What's your preferred moniker for your type?
Well, I generally refer to a 1 as a reformer. I'm way more comfortable with that. I think people see us as perfectionists, and I think that that's truer or equally as true as reformer. But people don't use the word perfectionist in a positive way. And so that can feel prickly. And so I prefer reformer, even though the truth is we do perfect, and perfection is something that we long for, where we think it's going to make our world just perfect. See, I can't even stop using the word perfect. Like what
I actually want, I want you to say more about what it feels like to like the desire, and then kind of how you experience the core wound of not being perfect.
Yeah. It's devastating. And going back to the word work, it just feels like your work will never be done. And if you know anything about ones, it's hard for us to rest or relax unless we've earned it. And to earn it, it almost feels like we've got to have perfected something or completed something. So all of these like really high level finished arrival kind of terms, when the truth about being a human is that we're never perfect. We're never going to arrive. There isn't like some pinnacle that we can necessarily reach that is so-called perfection. And so that's frustrating. It's like you work every day towards an ever moving, really like crazy, unreachable goal. And so I think I just talked about a lot of it. So the wound is that I'll never be perfect enough.
Mm.
Even if someone else thinks, funny thing with ones is that, they'll turn in a project to somebody and someone will say, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And in our minds, we're saying, oh, I could have done way better on this. I kind of phoned it in on this. Actually, I could have done more if I'd had more time. Nothing in our mind is ever reaching the threshold of perfection. And so that's hard, but we can't quite not work towards it, right? That's like the complete compulsion
because the noticing is ever present. Like my husband and I, he's a one.
Okay.
We'll be standing in a hallway of our home and I'm talking to him about whatever. And he'll be like, oh my gosh, this paint or the baseboards. And I'm like, what? Like what just happened? He cannot walk into a room and not see what could be fixed better. And it's not like he's trying.
No, it jumps out at you. And
like to him, it's glaring. Fingerprints on the windows. I look out the window and see what's outside. He looks out the window and sees the streaks and the dirt and the fingerprints or whatever.
And I think that when it's in your zone that you're supposed to have taken care of, it's louder because it's like, oh, it's an evidence.
That just gave me like this like empathy, like, I don't even know. Totally. Because I don't care about the windows.
Right. But it almost looks like, I'm looking at my windows now, of course, and they, of course, need to be cleaned. And, because everything is dirtier than we want it to be. And so I think if it's in your zone of control, which is another thing we like to do as ones, that feels like a failing. It feels like another way that we're not good. Right. And there's so many things like that around us. I heard somebody say once that being a one is the hardest type to be.
I've heard that.
I'm a one, so I believe it, and I think so. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think ones and sixes, it's the hardest.
6 too. I could see that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I really do.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
That's right. Yeah. The rest of you enjoy. Okay. Go.
Hope you're having a nice life.
But like the way you just said that. So when you see the imperfections and it's in the realm of something you've deemed as yours to take care of, it just hits like a failure. So it's not even that there's a thought. I think this is one of the things I really kind of want to pull out about one. It's like the critic isn't necessarily chattering at you, although it probably is, you'll tell me, but there's something in the just hit of it that like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. Tell me about that.
No,
I think this is kind of a misunderstanding around how people talk about
that sound you're making. It's like deep in us.
Yeah.
Like, right. And I think that the interesting thing about the critic is it's hard to separate it from who we are. It's like, I believe, like in therapy, I remember my therapist asking me, like, well, whose voice is that saying that bad thing to you? And I'm like, it's mine. What are you talking about? That's my voice. And so,
okay, Dani, I need you to slow this down because this is so important, particularly for people who are mistyped. And yes. Okay. Say more.
Yeah.
I'm getting all excited.
It's really hard it feels like it is literally in the fabric of who we are. There isn't some special voice that is saying the bad things. It's just all intermingled in every thought you have about how you could have done better. And then if it's in a really rough spot, like you should have done better, why didn't you do better? And it can just get worse from there where it's like, you're the worst.
And is that when it really turns outward as well?
Hmm.
Like, I think I see, oh,
Yeah.
I think this is okay to share because I'm not going to share any details. But my husband and my son and I were eating the other night, and my son and I lightheartedly made fun of my husband and something he did.
Uh-oh.
I know I could, oh gosh. And I watched it happen. I watched something occur in him. And then he pulled out this other example of someone else and was like so mean and harsh about it. And I was like, oh, I just saw what happened. I saw him take our lighthearted, we see you, we love you, we know you. Oh, I literally could cry. And he took it in and he took it so hard. And then he just like had to discharge it by kind
Yeah.
of blasting about someone else. And yeah,
Oof. Yeah. I mean, you hit that nerve and the self-recrimination story starts up. It, I mean, it's good that it comes out, especially in a safe way, because
yeah,
if
yeah.
it comes around inside too long, that's really terrible for one. It doesn't have any place to, and I'm not saying, hey, ones, like take out your aggressions and your resentments on the outer, wider world. But I think that it
But what
definitely
are you
comes
saying? Because this
inside.
is the work, right? Like
The work
something
is.
has, yeah.
Yeah, the work is noticing, ooh, that touched something in me that really feels tender. And
Mm.
our first and our quickest emotion in that time is anger. We're not going to call it anger. We're going to call it resentment. We're going to be defensive about it. We're going to have every other word but anger, but that's the stem of it, right? And so it's good for if you're noticing that, because you don't have to notice it. You can just react. And so the work is actually what happens between the thing that stings and the response, right? So that's the work. Slowing that down is really important and noticing what happened. Maybe even saying something like, "Oh, I noticed that really hurt me." And then this, I wonder why that made me feel so bad. I think that question
Totally.
is the work. Like,
And does that get tricky because as a one, you kind of have to, I don't even know how to say, acknowledge something wrong.
yeah.
I think the work gets really stuck for ones in this way because you actually have to be like, wait, was my reaction there maybe not right?
And even more so, Kristen, we are constantly trying to behave correctly, speak correctly, think correctly, do correctly. And if there's something that happens that feels bad or feels wrong, that was in our purview, that was in our control zone, and we missed it. And that feels terrible to a one, right? And so, yeah, if something triggers, if you're someone who is doing the work, and so, like, obviously, the work is something I do every single day, every single moment. I get prickled, I get, all the things affect me every single day. And I think that the lie that the ones have in their thinking is that I can get to perfection. I can arrive. I can be above being triggered. And this is where I think talking about humanity is really important
Mm,
because ones don't want to be human. We
neither do
don't want to
sixes.
have
Yeah.
emotions that throw us off track. We don't want to have personal failings. We don't want to get people angry at us. We don't want to do a bad job. And that's just all part and parcel of being a person. And so I think one of the biggest things for ones in doing the work is just accepting your own humanity. And honestly, I think that's a great little portal because being human is actually a beautiful and wonderful thing. Yeah, there's a lot of other things
Mm,
with it, but we have to realize the beauty in it too. We have
hmm.
to realize that we're part of a humanity that is also imperfect. Like we're not apart from that. We are a part of that. And that can be helpful.
Mm. Okay. How do you do that?
It's not easy. I mean, being a human, okay, we're speaking to only humans here, I think, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
It is like the hardest thing in the whole world. But some of us are way, way, way better at accepting our humanness, right? Do you know people who
Yeah.
are like, yeah, whatever. I messed that up, but I think it's really good to have models of that.
Mm,
I think it's good to see people that are showing up as they are and are not perfectly, you know, makeup and just arrive in their humanness. Those people inspire me to be more real too. I think what we're talking about is just showing up as yourself without needing to do a lot of curating,
totally.
which can be really hard, but I love how more people are, I think people are getting realer, on platforms like podcasts and, you know,
Yes. I
I
mean, it's
think,
a both and because I think, oh, I could just go off about this. I think you're
Mhm.
right. And I think it's gotten a little messy.
Right, that's true. You can go too far. And
You
that's
can
the
go too
fear
far.
of the one. That's the fear of the one
Right.
is that if I allow myself freedom, if I access my seven side, which
Yep.
is freedom and joy and possibility, and I
Mm.
just lean into that, everything that I'm trying to hold together is just going to fall apart, and I'm going to become the laziest person, the most like the drunkest person, the most
Totally.
irresponsible person. It's all just going to hell.
That's right. That's right.
That's what it
So,
feels like to a one. The work in
okay.
that is, oh, go ahead.
No, no, this is just
I
amazing.
was going to say the work in that is realizing that, your oneness is deep seated. Probably your sevenness can never completely overshadow your oneness. So this isn't like the most irresponsible type seven traits you can imagine without a big sister of a type one kind of guiding you along, right?
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, that's when I tell
Mhm.
my one clients who are like, but I actually can't stand sevens because, and that's really interesting because whatever we can't stand, right? You spot it, you got it. There's something going on,
Or you
right?
want it.
Or
Yeah.
you want it, you want
Mhm.
it. And so it's like you're never going to spin so far out of control because you've always got your oneness on board as well. So
There's something about self-trust that
okay,
you're describing to me here. It's
that's
like what do you
true.
know about yourself well enough to
Yeah.
know you're going to come back to buttoning stuff up.
Absolutely. And I love that you asked that question. That's such a six sort of
Yeah.
angle on it because I had somebody ask me one time, like, how do you know what you know? Like, how can you access your gut? And ones kind of just know. Like,
Yep.
ones have a high degree of self trust.
Yep.
And so that is what we need to remember when we're doing
Mhm.
the work of letting go and saying, okay, but I can trust myself to have this much fun because I know that I'm not going to go totally off the rails. And if I go totally off the rails, I know how to come back, like I know how to
Mm,
fix that because I'm a good fixer and I can fix anything that I break, right? So that's
mm,
the self trust you're talking about. That's really true.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is amazing. There was something that you said that I wanted to go back to. So I assume being above reproach
Mm.
would be like amazing. Is that
Mm.
part of the like the fake goal? It's like, oh, like your delight. You when I said that, you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
it'd be
Well, and the flip
amazing.
side is making a mistake. Like I thought I was being above reproach. I did everything I thought I was supposed to do, and still somebody's mad or something got messed up. Being
Yes.
above reproach just sounds peaceful. It sounds like the mountaintop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're aware, you have awareness that that's not a thing.
Hmm. I don't know if I do. I'm working on that.
Oh, I just love that you said that. So honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the work for me every day is to tell myself what is true
Mm,
because the stories of not being enough, of being messed up and never going to reach the goal and always being just this far away from screwing everything up, that's the louder story. And so often I'll find myself And it is about awareness. It's about finally noticing that those stories are even running in the
Yes.
background. And so that's a big deal. That's honestly like step one, but you stay on step one for a while. And I think it's fine because you've got to get to where you're noticing where your mind is going, because we don't do that. Our lives are busy.
You're
We don't pay
100%,
attention.
million percent right. Gosh, thoughts are thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I find this to be a sentence I want to share with clients and then they know it.
Thoughts are thoughts, right?
It's like, wait, actually learning and understanding and integrating thoughts are just thoughts is so much work. So, is that what you're saying
It
is step
is.
one? I completely agree with you.
Yes. I'm writing down
They
thoughts
appear.
are thoughts.
Thoughts are thoughts, right? They're
We're
thoughts.
both learning from this. This is great.
I also, thoughts appear. They just appear. We don't go looking for them.
Oh,
We're not like, and we're both thinking repressed. So there's a
right.
lot of
I was thinking
thinking
about
occurring.
that. We're thinking about thinking.
We're thinking about thinking. We're thinking all these thoughts. We're thinking about all these things. We're not looking for those.
No, they find us.
They just appear in our mind. So thoughts are thoughts
So we
is
have to
step one.
notice that. Yeah. We have to notice that there are thoughts coming into our head that we don't necessarily know where they come from, and that they are not always the truth.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So,
And the second step then
yeah.
would be, you know, taking those thoughts and turning them over in your hand and thinking like, okay, I mean, there's a lot
Give
of
me one.
questions you
Let's
can
work
ask.
with one. Yeah.
Okay, one thought. Man, I sounded so stupid on that podcast, right?
Oof.
You're
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. So that can be, oh, I wish I would have said that thing different. I think we can, a lot of us relate to that. Like you're in the shower, you're going over the day, and that one stupid thing you said
Right.
becomes everything I said was stupid. And I should probably just never leave my house again or say another single word, right?
Exactly.
Because those little thoughts that are just thoughts, they multiply and they start spinning a yarn, and then they start chaining together with every bad thing you've ever done in your life. So unless you can interrupt that, you know where that leads. That drops us into the pit of despair and takes a lot of work to come back from that. So don't want to go there. What we do is interrupt that. So we
Yep.
stop at thoughts or thoughts. We maybe get to the second thought and we go, oh, I'm doing that thing. Like, yeah, I wonder if that's really true. I wonder if the person I was talking to even remembers that I said that, right? And this is where like being human can be helpful, remembering that part where it's like, I bet I'm not the only person who ever screwed up a fact or said something weird on a podcast, right? You're not alone. Because I think a lot of times when we get stuck in our thoughts, we're alone. Nobody else has been this way. And
Totally.
I think that when we can put ourselves in the middle of like a group of people and say, oh, like everybody knows what it feels like to make a mistake. I bet nobody's judging me as harshly as I am. Well, what is true? What is true about this? Yeah, nobody's judging me as harshly as I am. Probably 70% of people didn't even hear what I said because they
95.
were like, okay, they're folding laundry or yelling at their kid, or the dog was barking, or something else was going on. And so that starts to right size the message that could either wreck your whole entire day or week, or get back down to size where you can work with it a little bit.
Okay, this is why I really feel, by the way, listeners, Dani and I just met. We've chatted on Instagram, and I'm just super drawn to your work and just kind of who you are. And now I'm like, oh, this is why. We say all the same things. We teach the same things. We say the same things.
Yeah, the
We have
feeling
similar orientations. I'm just like nodding so vigorously over here. Okay, real question though. Does that help? So you've got the thought. We've done so much work by the time we have actually pulled out a single thought and we've said, okay, here's a thought that I'm thinking. I sounded terrible on that podcast or whatever. Okay, now I'm going to examine this thought and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to offer some perspective. I'm going to offer a little humanity. Does that help?
It's not a perfect thing.
It's not a silver bullet.
It's not, but it can right size it a little bit.
Okay. Right? That's what you said that I was like, yes.
So yeah, it's not a total solution, but you can work with it when it's that size. And then, you can phone a friend. It's really good to find people who are also on a growth journey where you can talk about, man, I spent 20 minutes just thinking about this one thing and trying to get this thought down to something that was true. And, talking about that with somebody, right? Because then that's that humanity piece where your friend is maybe like, I know what you mean. Like, I was wearing uncomfortable pants today and like, I thought my life was going to end and I just put on like some bigger pants and I was fine. Right. It's like, oh, like we all have these struggles, So phone a friend. I think that's good. I also am a fan of giving myself time to ruminate on something, like a limit. I like to get it out of my head too. If I find something's really on my mind, if I can write it down on paper and say, I'm putting this outside of me for right now, because I've got to go do my life. I'm going to put it right here so I can come back to it because it feels really important. And I'm not abandoning this thought.
Totally.
Right. But right now I got to do these other things. And when you come back to that, often just through moving your body around, because I really believe we're three-centered people where we have a body, we've got a mind, and we've got emotions. And we often have to engage all of those when our brains are trying to run the entire show. Right. And as you and I already talked about,
1,000,000%.
as ones and sixes, twos are in our boat too. Our thinking can get super unproductive really, really quickly. And so getting out of the brain space, after a set amount of time, like, okay, I'm going to stew about this for as long as it takes for me to walk to get my journal or to, call my friend. And then I need to be done with this, for a little bit. And I'll revisit it later and see if it's still important at all.
You've basically highlighted just in that example, like 3 different ways that you've started to bring productive thinking back on board.
Right.
First of all, I've noticed I'm having a thought. That right there turns back on our front brain and is like, huh? Oh, I'm having a thought. Then I'm going to do something with this. Yes. And this is where I think oneness actually kind of shines.
You're right. We like to do.
Right? I'm going to do something about this. And I love that I just love the doing nature of ones. I know it can be also the trap. I do, but man, is it inspiring. Okay. Then you get the journal, you write it down. That turns on a different part of the brain than just letting something ruminate and run around. So you just get it sounds small, but deciding, acting, writing, all ways to actually turn on a different part of our brain and let the feelings, because we don't get to ignore the feelings, sadly, start to kind of dissolve and digest and move through and all the words we like about feelings.
Yeah. And I want to say something. Some people hate journaling. It's never worked for them. They don't have a journal all the time. I want to say your option is to say something out loud. Again, speaking it, just getting it outside of you. Go outside on a walk and say, you know what? I'm good. It's fine. I'm just a person and I'm doing my best, right? Or whatever you need to say, just to put that outside of your body instead of locked inside your, brain cave there.
I even literally teach to pick an object on your desk and give the feeling that you can't be with or the thought, you just put it on it. It's like you are fear or whatever. And then it's with you, but it's not taking all your attention. So you're allowing it to live because all our efforts to repress and stuff and not be don't work.
Yes.
But how do we get things out of us enough so we can do what we need to do? Absolutely. But give it a place so it doesn't take us over.
I love that. That's a really good tip. So we've got some tools, I think. And I think it's really important for me here to say that all these pieces of us that like we're frustrated with, the piece of us that thinks that we're bad, the piece of us that is afraid, the piece of us that, thinks that we're terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are all parts of us that I feel like, just like you're saying, it's like you're not casting out a demon or something into an object on your desk. Like it's something bad.
Right.
It's almost like you're using an object outside of you to have relationship with, to be like, it's okay. Right.
Yes.
We're not disowning parts of us.
That's
I
right.
always thought like, oh, I want to cut that part of me out that is always telling me that I'm bad, when that part of me is actually looking for me to move closer to it and to reassure it as opposed to abandoning it. And so I think that's bears saying, because I think it's really natural to want to just get away from that instead of reclaiming that part of yourself.
This gets kind of back to the unburdening. We think unburdening is getting rid of things we don't like about ourselves. We're like, well, that'll feel a lot lighter and better if I'm never that way again. And it's like, uh-oh. The work is so opposite that. It's
You're right.
I'm going to say fixing. I don't love the word, but developing a new relationship to the parts of ourselves that are not going anywhere.
I think restoring.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're going to be a 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a 6. 2 things I want. One's a question and one's just a reaffirmation of what you said, which I am already forgetting. So I'll just go with my question. Okay. Do ones like reassurance from other people? Does it land? Do you like it? I will say, I feel like my husband can't get enough.
Yeah, that's me too.
Okay.
If you ask my husband, he would say the same thing about me. In fact, this is hard to admit, but like I need a certain kind and a certain number of reassurances from him every single day. And without them, I feel like, oh no, today's the day when I'm just too horrible to love anymore. Right?
Wow.
So it's like, yes, the answer to your question, do you need reassurance? Do you want it? Yes. The other question is, does it land? And that's a no, mostly. And
this is so relatable as a 6, by the way.
Right. I know. And so it's funny, our 1 and 6 relationships, like I think we have a fair degree of understanding for one anher. In fact, my husband has thought he was a 1 before, but
very
right.
common.
Yeah. So, but it is interesting. I think that the amount of reassurance that we need is related to the fact that it doesn't land.
Excuse me. Say what you said again, because I coughed.
Yeah. It's the fact that we need so much reassurance just kind of proves out the fact that it's not landing. And it's not because the person didn't say it right or enough or whatever. It's because of kind of a brick wall we have around our heart related to receiving good comments about ourselves.
Yeah.
And even as I talk about it, I can feel like a guardedness, like it almost feels dangerous to accept those good comments or those compliments or those reassurances that they would last, because then something in me feels like that would invite that rest or that lack of striving that could put me in danger of being bad again. Right? So we need a fresh batch of reassurances all the time.
Okay. Let's describe, if you can, the brick wall. Let's do some somatic description here. I love that you're aware of that enough that you can actually give us some language maybe around it. What's it like?
Yeah, it's definitely a tension in my chest and up to my throat, which is interesting because, the voice is involved in the reassurance and in even the receiving of reassurance, like, saying thank you or like, whatever you're supposed to say when you get a compliment. But it's like it feels, just feels like a block. Honestly. It feels like a heaviness. It feels like a danger, Yeah.
Totally. Have you done like work with that? Like, have you specifically imagined or moved or shifted or any of that?
I don't think so. I mean, I've noticed it, but as
Mm-hmm.
far as working with it or breaking through it, obviously it's still there. So I can get
And if
past
you
it,
did, it would
right?
reconstitute. I
Sure,
mean,
exactly. It's like it will brick itself back up. Um, and like you can get past it. You can get a one to
totally.
accept a compliment, but the story that's going on behind them, and I see this in my one clients too, is, well, if I accept that compliment, then I might rest on my laurels and not continue to improve. And that feels really scary.
Okay. How does personal growth for a one not just become the how does it not just become an extension of the
Mm,
self-improvement project?
yeah. Wow. That's a great question because they can be the same thing. They can look like
Totally.
the same thing. I think I think what we do, in no matter your type, I love to look at how we trick our type. Okay.
Mm,
So, like, if you're an Enneagram 7 and doing anything that's boring sounds terrible, and maybe the work sounds boring to you, you have to figure out how to make it fun and how to reward yourself, right? So, you're tricking your type into doing what's good for you by using the avenue that already speak to you as your type.
this
Okay.
is brilliant. Mm-hmm.
So, for my type, I think I utilize the fact that I like improvement and reforming, but instead of me walling up my ivory tower and climbing up higher on my high horse and getting better at being critical and rigid, I I create a framework for growth that is a little counter. Like the things that I earn are more joy, more,
Mm,
right?
mm,
They're my evidence of me working hard and doing well is how free I can be and how I can let go of things and
mm.
how I can let things be as they are, including and especially me. So,
So you attach measurement essentially to different outcomes. That
yes,
just seems smart.
I
Like, this
think
is good.
thanks. I think it's useful. I think you have to speak the language to be able to get the result that you want. So whatever type you're working with, you've got to speak that type's language and kind of trick it into doing something that's good for it.
So I think I do something similar with sixes when I say we're preparing for the wrong things. What we what we absolutely can predict and what we're not preparing for is how we will talk to and treat ourselves on the back end of doing hard things. When we have
Uh,
like stepped
yes.
into uncertainty or, whatever the thing is, we can guarantee we will attack ourselves. So
Yeah.
prepare for that as
Yes.
opposed to whatever outcome, like really building this awareness of like, there are things you can be certain of that you can prepare for that you're missing completely
Yeah, I love that. That's exactly right. That's what you're
because we're
doing
so
already.
outcome focused. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. So I think that's it. My measurement is being free, seeing possibility, seeing
Mm.
color instead of black and white, right? Or gray instead of black and white.
Okay.
Um,
So what's that like on like a random Tuesday evening? Right. Because we can
mm,
get very like kind of lofty about these things. But
yes.
what does
Oh, yeah.
that look like in your actual life?
I think it looks like for ones, we have a lot of expectations, okay, whether we know it or not.
Mm.
And the way to know if we had an expectation is for things not to go the way we thought they would.
Mm.
Then you'll see your expectations. And on a random Tuesday, if you thought this is how something was going to go and it starts not going that way, how are you handling that? Right? Are you
Mm.
getting grouchy and rigid? Like Are your shoulders getting tight? Are you getting frustrated? Are there things that you really want to say, but they don't, they're not right to say, and so you're biting back some words,
Mm,
those sorts of things. And so when you start noticing that, that's a clear indicator that you've had an expectation, and that in your mind you're believing either it's going to go like I planned or everything is horrible. So or it's all bad, it's wrong and terrible. And so noticing that, you can take a deep breath there and say, okay, that's not the way I planned it, but I suppose that's another way we could do this. Yeah, that's fine. Right. It doesn't all
yes.
happen that quickly, but that's how it would happen on a random any day.
That's so good though. But that's literally what it looks like. It's not this, I'm suddenly living free as a bird and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. It's like, what
No.
is my day-to-day life? What's slightly different? What can I
Mhm.
access that I couldn't access before?
Yes. And it's amazing that, I mean, you have the ability, you have this in you. I always say this to my clients. You don't have to go outside of yourself to get any of this. It's
Hmm.
within you. It's just not what's on, the main shelf that you're used to grabbing from. You might have to stand on your tiptoes and reach up for this thing, but it's right there within your grasp. And if you can use it more frequently, you're going to move it down to that lower shelf where you're going to be grabbing it first instead. And those old coping mechanisms where, you're pissed off, everybody knows it, and the whole night is ruined because, you had to use sharp cheddar instead of mozzarella, right? Or whatever dumb thing. It's always something small, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh
If
yeah.
you can become a little bit more malleable, you're going to enjoy your life a lot more. That's the reward waiting for you. It doesn't have to be a certain way. There isn't
Okay.
there isn't a black and the white when it comes to cheese necessarily, right? One of my favorite things, I think Suzanne Stabile said this, but she says, when you're moving house and you're packing up things and you're wrapping things that are breakable and you're throwing pillows in a box or whatever, or you're packing something that's like an heirloom or it's a grand piano. When you're a one, everything's a grand piano. And that's really good to notice about yourself, because the truth,
Totally.
not everything is a grand piano. Sometimes
It's
it's
true.
just a pillow or a pair
And
of dirty
most
shoes.
things aren't.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the work, is just keeping that in mind, that I tend to think things are way bigger than they are. And that causes me a lot of stress that I don't necessarily have to keep doing.
I wonder if there's something too around naming things as separate from you. So I'm thinking of the baseboards and the windows and the pillow and the whatever and the cheese.
Yes.
I wonder if there's something about like, that's cheese.
Yeah,
That's not me. I
totally.
don't know. This just occurred to me.
No, and I think that's true. Like, ones have a lot of feelings about what they do. Okay. Like, if we've done something, we got a lot invested right there. So if there's a problem with it, or if someone has an issue with it, that feels very personal. So I
Yes.
love that idea of like you recognizing or saying that this is outside of me. And
Right.
like my worth and my value and my goodness doesn't depend on this thing that is outside
Cheese.
of me, on
Yeah.
cheese, on a fingerprint. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Okay,
love that.
that's
That's
good.
great.
I'm gonna tell my husband that. He's gonna be like, what? Okay, two things. One, you said this is the thing I wanted to reflect earlier that I forgot. You do the work every day. I
Absolutely.
just want to like do a dance and sing a song and also, I don't know, drill this into people's heads because I think we can do the work every day in a way that doesn't feel burdensome. But this
Mhm.
is the truth of the matter. If we actually want to change something foundational about us, we're practicing something every day,
Yeah, it's a
regardless.
practice.
We're either digging our patterns deeper because just over the course of living, that's what happens, or we're doing small things that are effective every day. It's kind of like it's like having your life be like a spiritual practice. Like, what are the practices that I do every day that support me, that change me, but change me in a way that really is kind of new and different. We don't get to
Yes.
just do it for a week or take a course or do whatever
Um,
and be a whole new, like that just doesn't even make sense. But I think it's what so many of us want.
oh yeah, I want that too.
I mean, I do too.
It it's not real.
It's not real.
And I really like, my line to four. I love idealism. Like in my world, I would love an ideal world where I'm above reproach and I'm up on the mountain. And you said blah blah blah, and I'm thinking yes, yes, yes. And it's just not a real place.
Right.
So it is a practice thing. And I actually am someone who hates practice. My husband says it's because I'm good at everything that I try, which I don't agree with. But he is a person who's always practiced. He's like, I could never do anything unless I practice. And I think all of us are practice people. Like we've got to practice. Like we had to practice everything that we know how to do well. But I think that if we have a bad taste in our mouth about practice, right? There's that famous video, the basketball player going, practice. We're talking about practice. It's the main thing. It is the main thing. If you don't habitually do something each day, then it's not a value for you.
Uh,
Right. And so I
yes.
think
Hmm.
that if you have problems practicing something, that tapping into your values, like, well, why would I practice this? Practice. Okay, it's so annoying. Okay, what value is this practicing of this thing going to
Hmm.
help me stay in alignment with? I think if practice is an issue, look for the deeper why, the deeper why. Why would I do this? That can sometimes help us do the things that are like eating our cruciferous vegetables that maybe some of us don't want to do.
Practice playing with the word. Some people like ritual. Some people hate
Yes.
ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Playing with the words. But to your
Habit.
point,
Yeah.
why would you do this? This is something I find with my clients is I can end up very easily overworking everything because duh. And I have to stop and be like, wait, why do you want this?
Yeah.
What do you want? And having them connect to that. And then we literally just talked about this earlier today. Your desire for the thing has to matter. It has to be kind of big. Your desire for whatever the changes you think you're going through has to matter. And a lot of people, ones and sixes, I don't know who else, come to the Enneagram and it becomes this thing I have to do to be in my world, right? To be safe. Like, oh, now I take on all this work, but it's just the personality pattern wearing
Yes.
like a different
Yeah.
suit. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I have to do. Well, then of course you're going to experience incredible resistance to that internally. So for a one, if this becomes like, okay, here are the things I have to do to not be bad. Oh, well, not okay. So maybe you're going to have some resistance to that, right? There has to be something higher that's more desirable that you're actually being drawn by.
Yeah. I think
And I
that's
don't
so
think we
true.
can create that for people. This is something
No.
I'm learning, right?
Right. I think, I love that coaching is a thing. I have a coach and I have a therapist and I have a lot of friends and that, we are guides for each other.
Yeah.
Again, I just love that we have journey mates along the way.
Yes.
Okay. Because it's hard to do all this alone.
Oh,
And
so
the
hard.
wider picture is we do the work so that the wider world benefits too. Because I hear sometimes people doing personal growth work like a bad name, like it's
Oh,
selfish, navel gazing, right? And so I do think that it can become that, you
oh, it
know,
can so become
it
that.
so becomes that sometimes. And I think that making sure that we are working with other people and sharing our experiences and talking about how we wish we could be this and how this is tripping us up is the key to us holding each other's hands along the way. So
I
I think
also
that's
think,
important.
though, our types, when we're stuck,
We
this
like to
isn't,
hide sometimes.
what's that?
I was saying like my type, I like to hide when I'm stuck.
Yes, but there's something about 'cause this whole selfish argument, I think, is just really interesting to kind of hang our hats on for a minute, though, because I hear this a lot too. And it's like when
Mm,
I, though, am locked in my sixiness, that's when I'm being selfish. That's when everything is about me. I can't get outside of
yeah.
myself without doing some of my work. Like my sensitivities are all about me. They sound like they're about other
Uh-huh.
people, but that's not true. So there's something around realizing that when we're in our stuff, we're all being selfish to some degree because it is all about me, 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 right? And my fixation and my
Mhm.
passion. That's what's running the show. So there really is something about when we do our work, we're able to get over ourselves in a whole
Yeah.
new way.
Yeah. I think that's what working with the Enneagram is, getting over yourself
I totally
by
agree.
gaining more of yourself back, by
Yes.
unnarrowing your view, right? Like our types tend to narrow our view. I always
Yes.
say it's like just looking through a knot hole in a fence or something. Like you get this really limited perspective. And so when you do the work and you realize that, you're coming out of a box, you're not putting yourself into a box by doing your own work. And hopefully that ripples out to where it impacts other people too. And it makes the world better because we're not all stuck
Hmm.
just only thinking about ourselves.
Even if we're thinking about ourselves in a convoluted way, right? Like if I'm overthinking other people's thoughts about me, that's about me. That's not about them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to like learn that
Mm-hmm.
and know that and confront that, which is stingy and icky. But
It is.
yeah, here we are.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And so like I said, when we were talking about how it's like we notice and then we can notice and then we can think about that bad thought all the rest of the day. When we can interrupt that and make that time shorter, that's
Yes.
more of ourselves that we have to offer the outside world when we're not ruminating in our own minds.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so good. We haven't looked at my framework one time. We don't need it.
I feel
I'm just like,
like
we've literally covered so many things. Okay, but let's talk about anger specifically,
okay.
if you want to.
Hmm. Yeah, so I don't have trouble talking about anger. I'm a sexual one, so I've got a lot more access to it. I'm not really
Mm,
worried about it. I I'm not too shy about expressing it when something makes me angry. Um, but I know other ones that really view anger as something bad and something scary and something that is wrong.
hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think of it more as honesty, but the quality of my anger is different now that I have a little more awareness in that I get angry about, things that aren't, they're small things. They're not grand pianos, but my anger can trigger at all of those things, even if it's not a big
Mm,
deal. You know what I mean? So noticing that maybe too many things are angering me. Like the anger is
mm,
not the problem at all. It's what is making me angry. It's like, why are you angry about that thing? Like there are certain things that the anger is very, very justified for. However, it's not the baseboards or the cheese, right? And so I find that ones often have a short fuse to anger, but we're not talking about it. It's on our faces though. Can we talk about
oh,
one's faces?
oh
Let
my
me
gosh.
tell me if this is true about your husband. Like you can
Whatever
see
you're about
anger
to
on
say,
one's face.
yes is
They're
the
not
answer, but go
doing
ahead.
anyone.
Okay, wait, say it again. I talked over you.
That's okay. A one thinks they're being very under the radar about if they're angry or not. But all you have to do is look at their face and you can tell how they're feeling. So
I
one should
literally
really
tell
have
my
felt it
husband, I'm like, take your judgy face and turn it, put it elsewhere. Because he's silent, because he
Yeah.
knows,
Hmm.
he's learned, like, I don't want to be micromanaged. Okay. So he gets that and he knows that's right, right? It's correct to not micromanage your wife. So he'll come in the space. Like if I'm in the kitchen, I mean, he's just so much more competent in most areas of physical life. He can't help himself. He is good at everything. I don't know if there's something, I don't know what it is,
We have to
but
be, or else we're the worst, okay?
oh gosh, there, that's very tender actually. But yeah, so he'll show up in the kitchen and I'm doing something and I can feel it. First of all, I can feel it
Oh,
and then I can see it. And so oftentimes what happens is I'll just give it over. Like I literally feel like I've become less competent over the course of our marriage because he's so competent at everything.
right.
So
Yeah.
I've tried to really not go into like, learned helplessness in some areas, which means I have to be like, take your judgy face and go relax while I finish whatever the heck I'm doing in here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and that's what I'm talking about. It's like our faces say a lot. And what's going on in us when we're feeling frustrated or resentful or all of the things is that incongruity between how things could be and how things are.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thing for ones to figure out. And what we do as a response, instead of sharing our anger, is take it over, like I'll just do it. And then what happens to
Totally.
us is then we get very resentful that we're the only one working.
Yeah.
So we've created our own, personal frustration station where it's like we're perpetuating it. But it's hard to get out of that because what you have to do, it's not actually hard. It's actually super easy. It's hard for us to get out of it.
Right. Well, this is the whole, yes.
All we have to do is take our hands off and go
Right.
in the other room, take our judgy faces somewhere else, right? That's all we need to do. It's very easy, actually, but it's difficult for us to let go of control like that. But
Okay.
it is the thing that will save us as ones.
Two things. One, I have learned, thank you, Enneagram. Oh, thank you, Enneagram.
Right? Yes.
To not take his judgy face and his anger personally.
Wow.
I feel like people are not using the Enneagram correctly because of things like this. I'm like, when a one is angry in your direction, you don't have to take that into your body because it's not about you. So that's really great. I've done a lot of work on that. And so now if he's really going, which is actually rarer now, we're growing, we're aging, we're doing our work, but I'm like, hey, let's go on a walk. So I let him, he's next to me and he gets to blow out, but we're side by side and we're walking and I'm listening and he's getting it out. And I'm like listening, but also look at the birds, look at the whatever. I'm not taking it in. He's getting his venting out. I also got him to admit at some point in our marriage that he needed to vent sometimes, that it wasn't just he's right. It's like, I feel like you might need to vent, which of course he's like, what are you talking about? Anyway, what do you think of my strategy?
I think it's great. I think that as across the board, if we could take that stance of it's not personal,
It's not personal.
if no matter what it is, like it's so much more about the other person than it is about us whenever we're taking things so personally.
Yes.
And
And
I'm
how do
working on
I
this.
want to field his emotions as his wife who adores him and loves him, knowing it's not personal? I actually want to provide that space where I think for a long time in our marriage, it felt, I didn't want to provide that space. I wanted him to not be mad.
Yeah.
And
You
that
just wanted
wasn't
to
fair.
shut down the feelings, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I get
Which then,
that.
of course, would make him feel terrible.
Yeah. And it bottles ones up. We have a hard time accessing feelings sometimes too. When my oldest son got married last year and I was sobbing at the wedding and my father-in-law said, I don't think I've ever seen you cry, which is not true. However, it was probably very few and far between that he had because messy human emotions were just something I would rather not deal with for a long time. So now I'm way better at crying, and that's really good. Honestly, if you can cry as a one, you're not spouting off in anger quite as much either, right?
It's
Or
so
like,
true.
right.
No, it's so true.
Yeah. So, shutting down a one's access to feeling is not good. They need to open that up, but your tactic of walking where his face is pointed a different direction than you and you're side by side, even just,
Yes.
the choreography of that is powerful. Like you're shoulder to shoulder, you're a team,
Yes.
you're working this out, you're walking out, you're journeying, right? All of that is so beautiful. And it's providing that method for him to get the feelings expressed because that's what
Yep.
feelings need is to come out of you, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, so I think that can really help with the angry feelings if they're given a safe space to talk. But yeah, face to face could be really, really hard. I can imagine, you in the beginning of your marriage just feeling like it feels like you need to be face to face with somebody sometimes, right? Like that.
Well, and as a
And that's
six, I'm like,
not
we have to
good.
solve a problem.
We have to get it done. Yeah. And you got to do that face to face and that feels overwhelming, I'm so sure. And scary maybe. Like,
Yeah, scary. There were a couple times very, very early on that I was like, oh no, who did I marry? Like, because
Oh
he would
God.
do something, some kind of project, and if it wouldn't go well,
Oh
he would
gosh.
rage,
Oh my
not
God.
even at me, just
Mhm.
around.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on?
Oh
It
no.
took, I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of work. You can marry. We've been married a long time too. Um, but I was like, what is
Yeah.
happening? I
Ooh,
didn't
and a one
understand.
with a project not going well.
Well, in plumbing,
That hit me
what
right in
just,
the heart. Like, oh.
but what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
saying, I'm really having a new level of awareness that like the thing looks
Mhm.
like a personal failure, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It hits the body as
Mm,
a failure, something
truly.
that it's just a really powerful new awareness for me. I have a
Hmm.
lot of empathy for ones. Ooh, do you have empathy as a one? My husband always says. Yeah, I heard him say the other day on a call. He goes, my wife says, I'm good at a lot of things, and empathy's not one of them.
So funny. Um, yes, I'm an empathetic person. I really believe in people and
Mm,
in their goodness. I think this is partly like the message I need to hear. I definitely see for other people. I have a lot of empathy for people. I think maybe I've been doing the work for a while
I was
now,
gonna say, is
and
this newish? Yeah.
yeah, it's probably newish. Now I feel very strong empathy for people and I want to understand what made them be the way that they are and like what stories they're telling themselves and what pain
Mhm.
is causing the behaviors that they're exhibiting. But I think probably in my earlier days, I was just more judgy. Like that's
Yeah.
wrong. I don't know why you think that way. I have really experienced an opening up um,
Hmm.
recently. And so to me, that feels better than being rigid. But I fall back into it for sure. Like I'm resistant to things for myself, I think, but I
Mm,
have more of an open-ended compassion for other people. I'm still cultivating that deeply
hmm.
into myself. But
I have a theory too. Well, I have two
okay,
theories. Everything's in twos with you today. I'm like this
love
and
it.
this.
I love it.
One, I secretly think my husband is actually incredibly empathetic, but it's just painful. I think it's a painful
Oh,
emotion to
oh.
contact, like to really be with the broken humanity is
Mhm.
so, it's just so hard for him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it is hard for us to be human. Maybe it
It's
ties
so
into
hard to be
just
human.
that. It's just a reminder that we're made of that stuff too.
Yes. And seeing how people are treated,
Hmm.
he
Yeah.
just could, yeah, it's a lot. Okay. Shoot. I
And
lost
the
my other
second one, I
thing.
keep throwing you off.
No, because I keep thinking of them. What were you just saying?
I was talking before the empathy.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a theory about ones. So once a concept funnels down and
Mm,
becomes correct, I
yeah.
think it can super shift the one's orientation. For instance, my husband said once, I almost died laughing. He said, there was a point in our marriage where I had to realize that sometimes you were right. And he said that with like,
Straight
I
face.
died laughing. But this was after, you know, I'd been coaching for years and been basically modeling all of this like humanity for him. And at some point, this idea got in there. And so when something becomes the new correct thing, I don't know, you see major change. I've seen major shifts with my husband when certain new ideas become the correct way to be. It's like then he doesn't miss.
Wow. First of all, I want to say that's a huge compliment that you got from him.
I know. He really respects me, which is
I, I hope
huge
you
for our
know that
marriage.
that was huge. Um, because I think as ones, we carry a lot of responsibility for being right
Yeah.
and for
Yes.
having the answers and for taking care of things that makes us feel alone. I think every type has a thing that's like, no, we do this. And then when someone comes alongside and does it with us, we're like, oh, I don't have to do this alone.
Mm,
So it was like, like I'm so glad you're on my team is what he was saying too. Like we're both, yeah,
yeah.
anyway. But I think that you're right. When so it's like when the Enneagram came to me, I was like, oh wow, this completely gives me a new framework for everything else that I'm going to experience in my life. What is difficult is when you have accepted a framework and then you find holes in that framework, it can feel really difficult to shift that because you're confronted with thoughts of, how did I get that wrong? I was
You have
wrong
any
at
examples of this, Danny, that you'd like to
that
share?
time. Well, I would say this is diving into like more of a spiritual topic, but I was more of an evangelical Christian in a former life. And yeah, I did a really good job at it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
liked the
Yeah.
framework, I liked the structures, I
Hmm.
liked knowing what to do to be good. That was really helpful for me. This is before I knew anything about being an Enneagram One and what that was all about. But looking back, I can really see how it scratched those itches of wanting an authority and wanting to know what was right.
Yep.
Okay. So as time went on, and I just sort of became a little bit more aware of the people around me and how um, evangelicalism excluded people and harmed people. I think that I've always been a really empathetic person, and I couldn't stay as I was believing certain things that I was being taught because of that. And so
Mhm.
that was really disorienting for a while. But honestly, I would say it was easier for me to switch and throw that off because I could see, wait, that doesn't jive with what I know, about
Oh,
God. Like, wait a second. Like I found the error and it was easy for me to shift. But I did feel bad having been fooled or having walked a path that wasn't good from my new perspective. I would say it was easier for me to shift than it was my type 6 husband. He took
no, for
longer,
sure.
right? He took longer and you know,
Because
he
what
had
if he's
some
wrong?
he had some judgment for me. Like, what are you saying? So I think you're right. So that new idea, just like you said, it hit me and it really went deep. So
Yeah.
I think I just proved your point with that story. I
Yeah.
think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Because once it's in there, then that's the thing that can easily be contacted and worked with.
Mm-hmm. But I think we're good at getting new information too and continuing to learn. I think ones are learners.
I wonder if there's something around like, again, to this sort of what we talked about earlier of like knowing yourself well enough to know
Oh,
I
the
can change if
self-trust.
I want to because I'm actually quite good. at whatever the heck I want to be good at.
Hmm.
We have a doodle, okay? And we are paying hundreds of dollars to get this dog's haircut because, of course, he's anxious because these dogs are such weirdos. My husband decides he's going to learn how to cut the dog's hair. And I'm like, we paid this gal hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
2 haircuts in. He's a freaking expert. He could have a separate job cutting doodle hair.
Dog groomer.
And
That's
he's like,
great.
it's easy. And I'm like, that is so not easy. It's like,
Oh
there's
my
just
gosh.
this will.
Yeah, I'm the person who fixes the appliances at home. I will get on YouTube. I fixed our furnace. I fixed our oven.
It's so impressive.
And it's
so
like a
impressive.
challenge that we like, it's like, oh, I think I could figure that out. If
You
only
like
I
a
had time.
challenge in the physical world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's
Mhm.
so, it's really so inspiring. I don't have much of that, but I do have all the emotional stuff. So I feel like I have been modeling how to be a human
That's good.
in my home for so long now. I think
You
it's,
need that.
I'm really trying to like have that be the idea that like funnels
Superpower?
in there.
Is that your
It's like-
superpower?
I think it is a superpower of mine. Yes, I think it is. Also, you know how it is when you coach for a long time, it's like the best way to coach yourself
Oh my
because your
goodness.
subconscious is hearing you say these things over and over and over and over. And eventually that stuff just gets in there.
Yep. I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay.
That's why I love coaching ones. It's like, oh, I
Seriously.
just told myself everything I needed to hear today too. And they're
Your
like,
subconscious
"Oh my
heard every
goodness."
word.
Yeah, they're like, that's what I needed to hear. I'm like, I know.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, let's end this. This has been an incredible conversation.
Oh, it's been so
Super
fun.
useful, which is what really my hope for this series.
Yeah.
So
Practical tools, right? For doing the
practical
work.
tools that we
That's
get to
great.
do every day.
Thank you for having me. It was really great to talk to you.
It was so good. Is there anything that you want to end with or add or I almost
I
made a
would
bad
say-
joke to make it just right? No, I'm just that's a joke.
No.
I'm just,
That feels like a lot of pressure.
I know that's why it's a
Didn't prepare
terrible joke.
anything. I would say maybe I'll leave with a thought for ones and myself, right? So I can do this best if I feel like I'm talking to somebody else. But like you said, my subconscious hears this. Ones, you are doing so much better than you think. And everyone else around you sees that. And it's time for you to see it too.
So good. Okay, we're gonna let that be the thing. Thank you so much, Dani. It was wonderful to meet you.
Thanks, Kristen.
Bye.